It didn't even take a week for Cavan to fully realize that their roles had completely changed. His sweet Maggie now left early every morning for the company and returned home late at night. Cavan, on the other hand, spent his days doing nothing but taking care of their son, Sam. On Sunday evening, while they were having dinner together, Cavan took a sip of wine, clearing his throat as he prepared himself to speak. He didn't know how to begin, but the words suddenly poured out. Sweetheart, I'm getting really bored at home. You're always busy at the company. If it's okay with you, maybe there's a suitable position for me there. I could be closer to you, maybe we could spend more time together. What do you think? Cavan had graduated from an ordinary high school. What could he possibly do in such a huge company? He hadn't really thought it through. But then again, wasn't Maggie from a similar background? The transformation she had gone through in such a short time was undeniable. Why couldn't the same happen for him? A heavy silence filled the room. Maggie responded with an unexpectedly sharp tone. What kind of job could possibly suit you in that company? Should I make a high school graduate a manager? Or would you prefer to be the CEO? Her words echoed in Cavan's mind. Anger and humiliation flooded through him. He clenched his knee tightly with one hand, trying to keep himself from losing control. It felt as if fire was burning in his eyes. Maggie realized she had been harsh, but she didn't think she was entirely wrong. Where could she possibly place Cavan in such a company? Making him a regular employee didn't seem right, but he also lacked the education to hold a managerial position. Trying to soften the situation, she said, Sweetheart, don't worry about company matters. Just take care of our son and enjoy your time. But behind those words was another truth Maggie was thinking about Clark. On one side was Cavan, simple, loyal, deeply in love, knowing nothing beyond farm life. On the other side was Clark, charismatic, sophisticated, Harvard-educated, confident, and irresistibly charming. On Friday, Clark burst into Maggie's office, excited, holding 2 tickets. We have 2 tickets to Italy for this weekend. No objections, it's just the 2 of us. Maggie tried to protest, Cavan and Sam, but Clark cut her off. It's only 2 days, they'll be fine. Even if she didn't fully want to go, Maggie had a weakness. She couldn't say no to Clark. That afternoon, she called home and explained that an urgent business trip had come up, emphasizing how important it was for the company. Cavan listened quietly. Okay, sweetheart, Sam and I will be waiting for you, he said. For a while now, something had been bothering Cavan, but each time he reassured himself. My Maggie is loyal. She loves me. She's just adjusting to her new life. As soon as they landed in Italy, they took a taxi to the hotel. Walking hand in hand, without caring who might see them, they entered the lobby. The receptionist assumed they were newlyweds. Congratulations, he said, handing them the key to the honeymoon suite. Maggie smiled. You could see the intoxication of love in her eyes. The moment they entered the room, Clark pulled her into his arms like a predator. This night is going to be long. Are you ready? He whispered. The trip was short, but for them, it felt even shorter. They were like 2 lovers who could never get enough of each other. On the way back, Maggie felt conflicted. She missed Sam, but what about Cavan? Her feelings for him had faded. There was no turning back anymore. When she returned home, she was exhausted. She kissed her son, then her husband, and went to bed. Only one thought occupied her mind. How would she tell Cavan? As she drifted into sleep, her decision became clear. The next morning, Cavan entered the room carrying a breakfast tray. Good morning, sweetheart. You were sleeping so peacefully, I didn't want to wake you. Maggie looked at him. For a brief moment, she felt a hint of regret, but it lasted only seconds. After breakfast, she went to Sam's room, whispering to herself, I have to say it now. Then she went to Cavan. We need to talk, Cavan. At that moment, Cavan understood everything, because for the first time, she had called him by his name. You know, this new life came as a surprise for all of us, but our marriage can't continue like this. A tear rolled down Cavan's cheek. Just who? He asked. He already knew the answer. Clark, right? He said, his lips trembling. Maggie avoided the question. It doesn't matter who, she said. My lawyer will handle everything. I'd appreciate it if you were gone before I return tonight. Cavan was shattered. And our son? He managed to ask. He will stay with me. You can see him at certain times, she replied immediately. Then she walked toward the door. I'm leaving now. Take care of yourself. There was no emotion left in her voice. The court approved the divorce in the first hearing. Cavan was allowed to see his son only once every 2 weeks, on Sundays, for just a few hours. He had lost everything. He rented a cheap hotel room. The nights felt endless. Alcohol became his only escape. When his money ran out, there was only one place left to go, his old home. He tried to find a job, failed, tried to start something, didn't have enough money. What could a man who only knew farming do in the city? In the end, he returned to that house. Every step felt heavy. Memories weighed him down. He sat on the couch with a bottle of whiskey and a glass. As he filled it to the brim, tears streamed down his face. That night was the end. His heart could no longer endure it. The glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. And from his lips came a single word. Maggie.